Instagram's Twitter clone, Threads, is finally out. Or should we even say Twitter Threat with a T, with a real T? Because there's a real and a fake T. Because after just a few days, they first of all have a lawsuit pending from Twitter, because seemingly they cloned all of it for real, and they've already surpassed 100 million downloads, and it's not even available in Europe yet. And the reason for that will most likely not even surprise you, my friends. So if we take a look at this whole thing, at first glance, it really does look like Threads could be the savior of dying Instagram. I, by the way, don't even understand why people always say the Instagram's dying and why everybody's jumping on that hate wagon, me included sometimes. Because I really, honestly, with all of my heart believe and know that Instagram is actually far from dead. But just taking a look at all the people that I've worked with, either in my program, The Black File, or in my creator mentorship, where we basically work with the creators and build their strategies together, I could safely say it's far from dead, and people have been blowing up left and right and getting massive amounts of reach on Instagram right now lately. But nonetheless, we all know how it's like. Old things are all boring and new things are all exciting. But nonetheless, Threads is actually a breath of fresh air, and I could totally see that this is a natural continuation of this whole Instagram ecosphere. But then again, so was IGTV, or Guides, if you remember them, or Notes. Yeah, which is kind of the same thing like Threads in a way, if you think about it. The track record is not really on their side. What is on their side, though, is the sheer support and amount of people wanting Instagram, the whole Instagram's ecosphere, to succeed. Because otherwise, there wouldn't be 100 million downloads and signups within the first few days of launching. Yet another sign that Instagram is far from dead. People are actually cheering and wanting Instagram to succeed in a way. But before I'm gonna tell you my suggestions on how to use Threads and whether you should actually sign up right now or you're just wasting your time, here's what they want Threads to be about. They talking about Meta, Instagram, our old friend Waziri Zuckerberg. And basically, they want this whole thing to be public conversations, aka Twitter, obviously. Right? But actually, they specifically mentioned they don't want to be a clear competitor to Twitter. They want to tackle on a different kind of crowd. They don't want the negativity and the heavy news and politics. And I kind of do agree on that because, yeah, politics, news are important, especially to have some different side of news angle away from the mainstream, if you ask me. But we also need a place that's free from that, right? Free from all of the crap that's just constantly flowing into our brains, just making us crazy. It is definitely making me crazy. A place that's mainly about user-to-user interaction, the content, and getting people together, getting them to talk instead of actually dividing them. So in that sense, on paper, again, like all the things from Instagram, are actually pretty good. The name, however, is it just a blatant rip-off of the very content type that performs best on Twitter, namely Threads? Yeah, and to be honest, it's actually one of the biggest asshole moves ever. A bully asshole move. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't care. But then again, as much as I like Elon and his different take on things and him just being different, I do feel like Twitter's been on a very slippery slope, restricting tweets users can view per day unless you pay for it. Also, seems like parody accounts of some famous people, aka Elon, seemingly can just get verified just like that. Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely demand for a Twitter alternative. But all of that whole thing aside, as a creator, Twitter, namely Twitter Threads, and as you can see, it's already getting confusing. So maybe that's actually been a very good chess move by Twitter, Instagram Threads. Come on. But Twitter Threads in and itself have become one of the most important and super powerful tools, especially to get more awareness and to help you, especially in your marketing campaigns, getting more email signups, targeted leads, and eyeballs on you as a business. So the concept of this is, yeah, it is proven. Now with Instagram Threads, it's actually pretty interesting because it is connected to your existing Instagram account right now, including your followers, including your verification status. Plus, they also said they're not gonna have any ads right now until the whole thing starts to run smoothly, which if you remember back in the days, Facebook before there were ads, pretty good. Instagram before there were any ads, also pretty good. And the other thing, just as a psychological thing, with all the negativity around Twitter that's happening right now, which by the way, used to mainly be focused on Instagram, right? Everybody who was talking about shit about social media was just talking about Instagram because no reach and all of these things. But suddenly with the launch of Threads, suddenly there's something new and fresh on the scene and it's automatically connected to Instagram. Suddenly Instagram is probably cool again. maybe even for new kinds of people who want to give Threads a chance. All the people flocking over from Twitter who never thought about Instagram, suddenly they have to create sort of an Instagram account connected with Threads. And suddenly Instagram's cool again, which is something I never would have thought would happen. But then again, Instagram has become really good in the past few months, especially for getting reach. Yeah, I never thought I'd say this again, but yeah, we're back, my friends. Now, what should you post on Threads right now? What is the formula to succeed? I've seen some gurus on Instagram talk about create X type of content, X amount of posts per day. Well, here's the thing. We don't really know yet. Anybody who tells you otherwise doesn't really know. Right now, it's basically a playground. There's no right answer yet. It's way too early to tell, so don't stress about it. Post whatever you think you like. You'll see. Things will develop eventually, but time will actually tell. Just see it as a playground right now. You can do whatever you want. And this is actually what I really love. Stages of social media platforms like this, where it's all open for everybody. I really love it. Actually, I don't love it because I can't try it out right now because I have a European account and Threads is not available for European accounts yet, which is a bummer. And it's due to the fact that, European lawmakers, they care about privacy, but then again, not the real kind of privacy, but some made-up thing in those old people's minds, what it means to be private. Probably those people don't even know what a computer is, but yeah. Basically, data being sent back and forth from Europe, from Instagram to Threads, from Europe to the US, back and forth. So this is why they still have to kind of figure a way out to be compliant with European rules. Basically, by signing up to Threads, you agree to sell your soul. Again, basically, you've done it before, once for Facebook, once for Instagram, 3 times already. So you're in deep by now anyway. Doesn't matter. And that's one kind of weird thing, though, to be honest. Once you decide to sign up to Threads, to kind of enter Threads from your Instagram, you can't delete Threads anymore unless you delete your Instagram account. So once you're in it, you're locked for life. That's just the way it is. And that just shows where they want to go. They want to, like I predicted, I guess, a year ago or 2, they want to become the main square for social media. And right now, it's actually looking to be pretty good. Obviously, they also say we don't really know. Threads is about conversations, stuff like this. But just based on the total asshole move of the name, Threads, obviously, probably Threads, text-based Threads are gonna perform quite well at some point. I've talked to some of my clients already. Some say these text-based Threads, like they do on Twitter, don't really perform for them yet. But here's the thing, and that's the important thing. If they don't work right now, it's just because the platform's not really established yet. People don't really know what they want. The platform doesn't know what it wants. So let's say you post text-based Threads, they don't perform. A few months from now, that shouldn't keep you from trying it out every other week or a few months from now, because things constantly change, especially right now. Also, and that's another thing that I think might be interesting, photos. I've seen some photo-based creators actually post photos there to some very good results. So maybe part of this whole thing has also been the realization that the photo algorithm, right, the recommendation algorithms on Instagram, they don't really prefer photos anymore, and there's no way to stop it because they just care for user signals, and people just love to watch videos more, get better signals to the algorithm. So maybe that's another way to counter that, to have sort of photos on Threads as well and share them on Threads as well. Because if you remember, just a few months ago, there was this sort of sub-movement from photographers on Instagram all saying, well, we're gonna leave Instagram, we're gonna go over to Twitter because that's where we got our reach. Plus, if we take a look at one of the first posts of Zuckerberg, our second old friend, it's a photo. So very interesting. Small side note, by the way, once you sign up to Threads, there's a number that you get. And it's not just a random number, it's actually your number, meaning how many people signed up before you. So it's actually also some small gimmicks, some interesting things. So comment your numbers down below. I want to know the earliest Dominator who signed up to Threads. We're gonna have something for you. So whether you think it's cool or not, you have to be aware that this really, for this time for real, is a very interesting and potentially big opportunity for any creator to build, to continue to expand their brands from multiple angles. I know they don't really have the best track record, but this time my gut feeling tells me it's probably in the right direction. So you probably would have wished you were one of the first adopters of Instagram back in the days too, right? Or YouTube. thinking about it. Sounds pretty exciting if you ask me, and it's definitely in your best interest to start building your Instagram foundation if you haven't already, or build it better. Because like I said, right now, with the right strategies, Instagram is actually as much fun as it was in 2018, maybe even better, because the reach is better. And this video will actually show you some actionable strategies to grow fast right now with new strategies if you actually implement them.